Okay, so this is Elijah, and I'll be showing you my Passion Time Round 1 question, which is what has changed about movies in the past century. And I know that the first movies were all in black and white and were kind of just really short. Like the first one was like 2.11 seconds, and it was just about a train going down a track. But they started getting gradually longer and they had more dialogue in them. But I'm using a website called Info Please that's going to show me a timeline of stuff, like the movies in order and what year they were in. So, the first movies were black and white because they didn't really have the stuff that they needed to make the colored movies. And now I will be getting into a timeline. So the timeline is 1889. Like what William Kennedy Laurie Dixon commissioned the Thomas Alva Edison builds the first motion picture camera and names it the kinetograph. And the first cameras, by the way, were huge, and they were like a big box that was like on a tripod, and you had to pay to get your photo taken. It was a big deal to take a picture. But in 1909, the New York Times publishes the first movie review, a report on D.W. Griffith's Pippa Passes. Thomas Edison introduces his kinetophone, which makes talkies a reality, in 1910. But the movies gradually start getting longer and better, but to them they were just unbelievable, but to us it's not that cool right now. In 1966 and in 1965 they had The Sound of Music, which was kind of a famous movie that still kind of is, and it says an instant hit. The film was one of the top grossing films of 1965 and remains one of the film's most popular musicals. All of these movies are getting longer than 2 seconds gradually, but they are basically getting more, I don't know how to put this, more interesting, like there's an actual story than just something happening, and if that just makes it like a better movie overall. And they're getting more, a lot of movies, like the actors are actually acting as if they were in real life, because in the first movie people wouldn't be walking like robots and just being next to a train that's moving. But I mean, they could be, but still, that's not normal. In 1968, the motion picture rating system, in 1969, Midnight Cowboy wins the Best Picture Oscar, the first and only time an X-rated movie received the honor. In 1970, George C. Scott gives one of the film's most memorable performances in Patton. He won the Best Actor Oscar for his first turn as the title character, but refused the gold statuette. Movies actually started coming in compact discs and CDs in about, I don't know exactly what time, but they started like people didn't have to go to a movie theater to watch movies. They could just put it into their TV and watch them from a DVD. In 1968, the motion picture rating system debuts with G, PG, R, and X, because that would be like they started rating movies, and it's because like most of the things that children were watching were like they shouldn't be watching it, and so it wasn't really like they started rating it. It's not saying you're gonna get arrested if you watch it at that age, but you just shouldn't be watching it, or if they're not saying either that if you're a grown-up you can't watch a G-rated movie. In 1977, Star Wars hits theaters for the first time and will go on to be the second highest grossing film of all time. Saturday Night Live fever sparks on the Disco Inferno and the popularity of movie soundtracks. So, in 1990, X rating is replaced by NC-17, which is no children under 17, which is kind of like PG-13, which didn't exist then. It went straight from PG to R. So most of the movies that were rated PG-13 would be rated PG instead of R, which is restricted. And so the NC-17 is kind of like PG-13, meaning that no children under 17 could be watching that movie. They can, but they shouldn't. And Lost in Yonkers is edited on the Aphid Media Composer System, the first non-linear editing system to allow viewers at the film's required real-time viewing rate of 24 frames per second. By converting the films to digital bits, film can now be cut on a computer. So they can start editing movies now, like superhero movies, and yeah. So they have the Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, opens and breaks a string of box office records. The film grosses $102.7 million on its debut 5-day weekend. So that was the first Star Wars, and the 2006 Walt Disney pays $7 billion for a Pixar Animation Studios, the powerhouse that created many like kids movies like Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, and The Incredibles, if you know those movies. And so yeah, the Star Wars, they started making all the movies like in series, which was one of the first movies to actually be in series. But Warner Bros. Announces that 11-year-old British actor Daniel Radcliffe will play the titular wizard in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So this was due at 2001, and they started like a new series with this movie too, but it was based off of the book. So yeah, that was my Passion Time project of what has changed about movies in the past century. Yeah. Bye.